Afternoon, race fans. Well, it's the collision everybody's talking about. Hamilton and Verstappen into Copse at Silverstone yesterday. Um, not one for watching F1 regularly these days because of the farce over track limits and DRS and a lot of other things. But I used to watch F1, used to plan my weeks around it. Watch a lot of other motor racing as well, and I just couldn't believe that Christian Horner, a person who I've actually stuck up for a lot in the past for what he's achieved, actually had the nerve to say that every driver who's driven Silverstone knows that you can't go through Copse side by side. It's just clearly not true. So I thought I'd just get a few clips on my computer that I've used to make videos in the past and show you previous overtakes into Copse. So first up we have Alain Prost in the Renault on the left. Quite a late move on Remy Arnoux into Copse. Both go through side by side. Next up, 1990 British Grand Prix, the start. We see a whole pack of cars coming through Copse, all getting through cleanly, as far as we can see from the rear onboard camera. Then we have the 1995 British Grand Prix. The clip cuts off just before we actually get to Copse, but you can clearly see that many of the drivers are contemplating going through there side by side. 2000 British Grand Prix, Schumacher not making a good start, and again we see a BAR going around the outside, the Williams considering going down the inside as well. Following year, Montoya on board, chasing Michael Schumacher, pulls alongside, and notice what Schumacher does there. We'll get to that in a second. Same thing that Alonso does here, Vettel alongside. Alonso backs out of it. So basically, in short, what we have is a series of clips proving that overtakes are very safe in Copse, but you have to be able to trust your fellow drivers. And as far as I can see, Hamilton pulled alongside Max. Max knew he was there and just expected him to back out of it. And Hamilton can't disappear, and it seems Max Verstappen needs to learn that the cars can't disappear. He can't just be turning in. We saw the same with Ocon, and for all the rights or wrongs of whether Ocon as a back marker should have been there, Verstappen knew he was there in Brazil, turned in anyway as if he was going to disappear, and they touched. And we see here the same with Hamilton. He turns in as if Hamilton can disappear, and they touch. And Verstappen can't be driving expecting everybody to back off every time, because then they'd be finished as a racing driver and they may as well wave him through. So we can see from the previous clips there, the drivers know when the corner is lost and they concede the corner. Especially in the case of Alonso, you can see that he is already setting himself up for the exit to try and perhaps get Vettel through Beckett's and then back onto the hangar straight. So it's really quite worrying, actually, the strength of reaction to this. I mean, I'm not talking about the disgusting racism and things like that against Hamilton from a small minority of fans. It's a fact that a lot of the fans don't seem to realise that if you criticise racing like this so strongly, then you're giving this man, Michael Massey, who already seems to be obsessed with giving out penalties left, right and centre for trivial matters, you're giving him every excuse to crack down on actual racing. And is that really what you want to see? Do you want to see the virtual equivalent of painting a double white line down the middle of a racetrack and going through their single file? Because, the way things are being said online by, I would say, at least 40 to 50% of the comments I've seen, obviously this has divided people very much, I would say that you're doing everything, you're basically doing the best you can to eradicate racing in Formula One. I've watched a lot of racing since I was a teenager. I've watched literally hundreds of races, Formula One, IndyCar, Rallycross, sports cars, and the thing they all have in common is the best drivers, the drivers that get the job done, win the championships, they give each other space. Now sometimes they get it wrong, that's fine, but they actually do try to give each other space. And from what I've seen of Max Verstappen, he still hasn't learned to give his rivals space. Somebody like Charles Leclerc is they're much more mature, and I predict that if Verstappen doesn't learn from this, that Leclerc is going to be the one who wins a title before him, because Leclerc knows when to attack, knows when to back out of it, and a lot of people talk about Senna and going for a gap that doesn't exist. You're no longer a racing driver, but even Senna himself said, you have to know when to hold everything you've got and when to give everything you've got. So just my thoughts on that, and hope it gives you something to think about. And as ever, if you want to comment below, let me know what you think. Please do.